Gravity on Earth's surface is much higher than in space. Therefore, time passes more slowly on Earth's surface than in empty space. Since the mass of the Earth is not very large, this slowdown can only be detected by very sensitive clocks such as atomic clocks, and time travel cannot be made that makes a practical difference. In order to travel back in time, it is necessary to accept that all past moments and events are still happening in the past or are livable. Otherwise, time travel is not possible at all if the past is not repeatable. Traveling to the future is also not possible. Because the future requires the future to exist before it is lived. It can only happen that if an object approaches the speed of light and leaves its position in the space and time coordinate and returns to its original place, it will change its spacetime coordinate. In fact, this does not mean traveling to the future. What happens is that it just changes the spacetime position of that thing depending on the velocity. Every object in spacetime has a space and a time position. Here the spatial position is the terrestrial position in space that anyone can easily understand. But there is also a time position, which determines the time zone of that thing. That is, it creates a relative concept of time for that thing. As you know, time is relative according to the theory of relativity. In other words, the concept of time changes according to the position of objects in time. If we expand a little more, the events we call now from our time location will be in the case of events from another time location. Because the speed of light will cause this as the speed limit of causality and therefore of interaction, and since it will bring the events we experience now to another time location with the speed of light, depending on the distance from the other time location, for example, years later, it will cause them to be perceived from now on in terms of interaction, i.e., the transmission speed of information. It will make a difference and cause a difference in perception of time according to the positions in spacetime. This is why we are looking into the past of distant stars in the sky. According to our spacetime position, we say relative because there is relativity in time. We always see the past of our environment depending on the distance of the distance while we look into space according to our own time zone. According to these data, if an object leaves its time zone depending on its speed, travels at that speed for a while and returns to its old time position, it will change its own time zone in spacetime, and when it returns, its time will slow down during its travel depending on its speed. Behind time. This remains. So when it comes back, more time has passed for other objects. Although this is a trip to the future in a sense, what actually happens is that the object changes its spacetime position with a rapid journey and returns to its former spacetime position. Literally, this is not a trip to the future, as it is the subject of fantasy films. For us, the concept of time must be an illusion, as Einstein thought, to travel to the future or the past as the subject of fantasy films. This means that time doesn't actually flow, but we, our minds, move through time. This acceptance, which Einstein called illusion, means that time is a concept that is completely formed in our minds, and that if such a situation is real, everything we know about the universe will be turned upside down. So much so that all models of cosmology change, everything changes, our view of all physics from the very foundation. Because this does not increase the role of the observer in quantum physics, on the contrary, it moves him to the center of everything as a determinant. Because almost everything we see and know becomes an illusion of our mind. In the appendix, I wrote to another friend of mine in more detail why time travel does not seem possible. You can also have a look there. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and like.